I'm here to talk a little bit about how to tune your instrument. I have a violin here, but what I'm talking about works for violin, viola, or cello. We're going to talk first just a little bit about tuning the fine tuners. So if you're from Chemories, we have gone over this a lot, but this is just a review. And if any of this doesn't make sense, just please feel free to email me, and I will absolutely help you out, or even send you a personalized video if need be, if you're really having trouble with your instrument. So the first step is having some kind of device to help you tune your instrument. So many of you may have snarks at home that you borrowed from me, or that you just have your own personal. That's great. I understand some of you don't. If you don't, sorry, my dog is just playing. Here, you can see. What you doing, Raven? Raven, please don't eat that. Raven, drop it. Drop it. Hey, drop it. Okay, what she had in her mouth was this tiny piece of toy that she had previously consumed. Okay, we're going to put that down. All right, so many of you may not have snarks at home though, so this is the next best thing. It's called InstaTuner, and you can get it on Android or iPhone, and it's free. And it's really easy to use, and I'll put a link to it in the video, or I don't know, something. I figure out how to do that on YouTube. And just go ahead and download it. It's very easy to use, and it works just like a snark. Okay? So, as you can see, there's a little up and down there, little spiral for you to play a note. And we'll show you to tune up or to tune down. Okay? So I'm going to put this down and just show you. So right now, I'm playing my strings. Oh, those do not sound right. They sound not terrible. Don't need a peg fix, but they don't sound great. So the first step is to take my app, turn it on, and to just start with the A string. So I'm going to play the A string. My app says to tune up. It says it's too low. Okay, so I'm going to turn the fine tuner to the right. Okay, I'm going to turn the fine tuner to the right, or the easier way I think is to turn it towards the highest string. So turn it towards the highest string to make it higher. Righty tighty, lefty loosey. So I'll say that one more time. I need to tune up. I'm going to turn the fine tuner to the right or to the higher string. Okay? So let's try that, turning the fine tuner. You don't have to do this like me and do it while you're playing. You can do it in between. It's getting closer and closer. And now it says, got it, and it's green. I'll show you what that looks like. Oh, it did a second ago. Let's try again. See, now it says got it, and it's green. Okay? So that's how you know you got it in tune. So once you got the A down, you can do a few different things. Some of you might have really good ears, and you might be able to identify the pitches. For example, you might hear the notes. And you might know right away, just by the relationship to the open A string, sorry, my dog is literally looking at every single string. Like, what? She's getting very alarmed. Just a little bit of a fun to break up this tuning video. She's literally staring at me like, what is she doing? Okay. So some of you may be able to do it by ear. If not, no worries. Just move on to the next string. I'm going to play my open D. It says still, tune up. So I'm going to turn my fine tuner to the right. Still says tune up. Now it says got it, and it's green. So I know I'm good. Okay? Then I'm going to go to the G string. Ooh, this time it's saying tune down. It's too high. So that means I have to move it to the left, lefty, loosey to make it lower, or turn it towards the lowest string. Loosen to make lower. Now I went too far, so it's saying tune up. That's okay. Just tune up a little bit. Now it's saying, got it. All right, last but not least, I'm going to do the E string. Just making sure my A string's still in tune. Something to remember is that sometimes when you tune your whole instrument, maybe you're working on the G string, the A string goes out of tune. So just keep on checking, especially if you're moving the pegs. It's saying tune up, so I'm going to tighten. It says, oh, it did say got it. I swear, but it said got it, and it was great. Okay, so that's how I know. When I'm done, my strings should have that interval pattern that we're used to, right? Bum, 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 which is what we're familiar with. Now, this, pretty simple. Many of you are already doing this in class, okay? Some things that maybe could come up that might be annoying or you might be struggling with. Cellos especially, these fine tuners might get really tight. We have really old cellos at Kenmore East, and sometimes the tuners really just get kind of rusty. And okay, so you might need to use like a little rag or something to turn them with. That's totally fine. You might also need to fix the peg, right? If the fine tuner is really, really low or really, really high and it can't go any farther in one direction or the other, that might mean you have to change the peg, right? So at this point, if you're good with your instruments in tune, great. If you need some review on how to change the pegs, we're going to go on to that next. Okay. So just like always, if you need to move the pegs or the fine tuners, make sure first you always start with your A string. Okay, always start with your A string as kind of like a reference. So moving on to this next thing, we're just assuming that the A string is in tune. Okay, I did that first. Okay, if that's the case, okay, the next thing you got to do is move the pegs. So let's make one of our strings out of tune. Make my D string out of tune. So the first thing you have to identify is that note too low or too high? What do you think? If you said too low, you were right, okay? And if you weren't sure, that's okay. You don't have to be sure right away. What you can do is try one way. If that doesn't work, try the other way. That's all right. Too low. So because it's too low, what I need to do is I need to turn the peg tighter. And like I say in orchestra all the time, the 2 rules for that are, do you know? I'll wait, just like in Dora the Explorer, where they wait to see if you can answer the question. The 2 rules for tuning with pegs. Okay, rule number 1 is to turn very, very, very slowly. Okay, I've broken so many strings in my life, probably 20 or 30 strings so far. So learn from my mistakes. Turn slowly, literally millimeter by millimeter is what I say. Second thing is to push into the peg box while you turn. If you just turn the peg and don't apply any pressure into the peg box, the peg won't stay in because it needs that pressure to stay in. Okay, so I'm going to firmly grip the peg box and turn the peg. Do you see how slowly I'm turning it? Probably not because I'm really far away. Let me see if I can get any closer. Okay, I am moving so slowly and I'm pushing into the peg box. Okay, that's all I think I really needed to get this in tune. Let's see. So that's even lower. So what does that mean? I did not push it enough because I was like way in front of the camera. Let's try that again. Pushing in. Okay. Closer, okay, still pushing into the peg box, pushing in, applying pressure, more pressure in, then turn, more pressure in, small movement turning the peg. Okay, now it's pretty close, but not perfect. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to my tuner, and I'm going to play my D string and see if I can get it perfect. It says tune up, it's too low. It says, got it, it's green. So that's the step. So first you do the pegs, and then to get even more perfect, you do the fine tuners, which we already learned. A lot of you are probably nervous. So you're like, I don't want to move my pegs because I'm going to break a string. That is something to be nervous about. I understand. I totally understand your nervousness. But I will say this. If you do these things, which is turn very, very slowly and really put pressure into the peg box, not pressure turning the peg really fast, you will not break a string. The only way you might be able to break a string is if the string was old, which a lot of our instruments are old, or if there was already a problem. But if you're really truly moving the peg really slowly, and if you really are pushing into the peg box, you really shouldn't have a problem. And why not this is a great opportunity to really learn how to move your pegs. Okay, so last thing I will say about that is tomorrow I am going into school. Tomorrow is Thursday, and I'm going into school to get my box of strings. So if something crazy happened and you did break a string, which I'm not saying it will, but if something crazy, and you did, I'm going to bring them all home so I can mail them to you if you do break a string, which I already did with another student. So I'm happy to do that. So if you're like, I don't want to tune it because I'm afraid I'm break a string, don't worry. I will mail you a string and then give you a video of how to change a string if you do break a string. But I really don't think you guys will. Okay. Please rewind to the sections that I went over tuning if you need them. Email me and message me if you need help with any of that. I can send you another video. If anything was unclear, please ask questions. And I hope you have a great day. Before we leave, I have to show you what my dog is doing right now because it's really cute. She's literally just sitting here watching me. She's falling asleep, I think. All right. Bye. I'll see you in our next video.